Studio with me is candidate for Ocean Shores Mayor and Frank Eldwin. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for letting me come on.
Absolutely. It is a crowded field in Ocean Shores. I mean, looking to become mayor. I mean, the political activism we were just talking about off the air. The political interest in the city of Ocean Shores just continues to grow. More and more people want to get on the council, and you're running for mayor to be on, and you will be on the general election ballot. But it seems as if the community is really involved and wanting to get into this, and so it's exciting to see. I want to talk about you, though. You are currently on the Ocean Shore City Council. um, let's go back a little bit up until that council seat. I mean, who are you? Who is Frank Eldwin?
Well, I'm a construction electrician that I spent 43 years in that industry. I went from apprentice to journeyman, general foreman, and up to a superintendent's position, which put me in charge of all the manpower and the profitability for two large companies in Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
where I had to be managing over 300 plus employees
Mm.
at the one company there. But going back, I mean, I grew up coming to the ocean. That was our family vacations. I've been coming down to Ocean Shores since the 60s. And so when we got ready to retire, my wife and I, it was a natural place to go check out because we'd spent so much time down there clam digging and fishing and letting the kids run around on the beach, and that it was really a good experience for us. So we bought a home in 2004, and I had to do the weekender deals with that, going down twice a month. And I retired in 2017, where we moved here full time from kind of the Auburn Covington area, is where we came from up in King County.
Mhm.
So
When
uh,
you came here in 2017 officially, like
full time.
full time, you got on to the city council in 2018.
Yeah.
Was it 2019?
19, I got elected. Yeah.
So I mean, that's a pretty quick turnaround from coming down here, moving full time, and then jumping right into things. What was your reasoning and kind of impetus to get into the council to begin with in government?
Well, I like to volunteer and I like to be invested in my community. I was coaching high school track.
Mm-hmm.
I was president of the booster club for the high school, and also involved with KLSW as a disc jockey on that. Started paying attention to things that were going on with the politics here in Ocean Shores, and that inspired me to get involved to try to help make a difference.
You've been on the city council now for coming up on into your fourth year.
Fourth year, yeah.
Fourth year, and now you're looking to step into the mayor's role. So, what was that decision to go from the council to mayor? Why now?
Well, I think that you have an opportunity to have more influence than you do on council.
Mm-hmm.
Council, as you know, you take care of ordinances and the money, and there's 7 people deciding what's going to happen. I got a lot of things that I'd like to see different. Number one is I want to have the citizens involved in their government, and that would be town halls so that you can discuss major projects that are coming up or issues that are going on in the city and involve them so they can feel part of it. We're not that big of a community that we cannot, bring everybody in and have them give us their voice and tell us what they'd like to do. I look at the police station as a failure, and we didn't discuss with the public what they would be willing to invest in, and that ended up getting voted down, I think, because of that.
When we look at these kind of town halls and things, I mean, how extensive are you considering when you look at it? Because there's a lot of decisions that come across to the city. Are just more on the things that might be larger, or how is this? What kind of expansion off of just the public comment and the meetings that are already there?
Well, I would say, like the police station, when you have a $12 million bond, um, that's certainly something to bring the public
Mhm.
into. The big issue is healthcare here in our town, and so I think people should be brought in for that. We've got an issue. Citizens have contacted Department of Health and talked about a black slime problem that we're having in our drinking water. And I think that's something that we should have a town hall about, and bring in the Department of Health and explain to the public what's going on. And we're looking at some backflow testing that hadn't been done for years. And so the city's making a step to try to clean up some of those issues. But I think the public should be made aware of those kinds of steps of what's going on.
And if you were to get into the mayor's seat, I mean, how would you like to implement something like that? Just a citizen outreach, or schedule just ongoing, just kind of meetings, or how would you like to see that be done differently?
I think, you know, regular meetings would be good, but when you have something come up that you're working on, I think that you should bring the public in at that time and take in their input. We got a ton of people that have a lot of knowledge there in our town that we're not looking for help from. And like a Public Works Oversight Committee, I'd like to put together a group of citizens. We've got a lot of talent there in town with people with construction backgrounds that could help us, especially when we're trying to meet budgets and design things that would be smart and save money for the public. I think that's an important thing to do on that. So I'd like to open up our regular meetings also, like our Finance Committee meeting and other meetings that we have need to be open up to the public like other cities do. So they can come in and sit down and hear what we got to say. You know, I had to fight to get the Public Works Committee meeting open to the public so that they could come and sit and listen to us talk, you know, and we're discussing their money, so I feel they have a right to sit down and listen to what we're being, you know, what's being said.
After that fight to open those up, I mean, has there been a public response? I mean, has the public started attending those, or what kind of response have you gotten from the public from that?
And the public wanted to come to it. That's where we're getting the feedback about that. There was another council person that helped me with that to get that done. But yeah, they're showing up to the Public Works meetings now.
Having citizens more involved in the government and kind of creating that kind of transparency and openness. I mean, one of the things you were looking at as far as your priorities, but what are some of the other priorities that you'd like to see if you were to become mayor of Ocean Shores?
Well, I'd like to see our city be walkable, and we had a sidewalk project that got shut down by the public. There was a lot of complaints about it. It got super extravagant and was going to cost quite a bit of money. And I think if we'd have brought the public in for a town hall and we had a committee of citizens on our Public Works, we could have gotten the sidewalks in, got something put together that the public would be in favor of, instead of showing up with a drawing and saying, hey, this is what we want, and the public saying no, they don't want to spend that much money, or they didn't want it that elaborate. It was quite elaborate. They were adding roundabouts on the way out of town, you know, the parking and a lot of different things. So it was going to be a fairly expensive endeavor when we could have kept it simple and saved, you know, money, and the public would have been in favor of that.
Looking at, we were talking fiscal responsibility just for the city. I mean, of course, you are using the people's money, so putting money towards sidewalks, I think that most people, walkability is something that's a boon for everybody, especially in a touristy town. But using the fiscal responsibility not to put the money into areas that are not needed at this time. Is that where you're kind of hitting at for as far as fiscal responsibility?
Well, fiscal responsibility, you can talk about not getting 3 bids on projects. You know, we had a building here that was nothing more than a pole building, 50 by 100 feet. Had 2/3 of it was a garage. The other third was some office space, and that cost the city $2.441 million. And that's not being fiscally responsible, in my opinion, on that. We should have got more than 1 bid, and
from your experience, I mean, your experience in the construction electrician industry, I mean, what could the city have done differently for that? You know, just say we only got 1 bid, reject it, go out and try to solicit more interest, or how would you have addressed it?
Well, I would have kept an eye on who was pulling drawings on Builders Exchange, and then I would have got on the phone and asked some other contractors to take a look at that. This was back in 17, so there wasn't, you know, wasn't the issue of COVID at that
Mhm.
time, right? So typically my experience has been, and I've received those calls from contractors when they only had one or maybe two electrical contractors bid, and they would ask us to, hey, would you mind taking a look at this project? And school district would call you up and say, hey, could you take a look at this? We've only got one bid on it. And I think, being responsible with people's money, you would make those calls and you would try to get a variety of bids so you have something to look at and know that you're getting the best bang for your buck, right?
Looking at some of the other things that you would like to see implemented or put in place or adjusted within the city of Ocean Shores if you were to become mayor, what are some other things you're looking at?
Well, I would like to, finish the fire break. We got a fire break that was started there behind the hotels, and I really think that that should be taken all the way down the peninsula so that all the homes and stuff are protected also. And the way that I feel it should be done is it should be drivable
Mm.
so that when the fire department shows up and there's a fire out, on the dune area, that they can get between the houses or the hotels and fight the fire. And that would also be a nice walkway for people. Also, it could be kind of a dual purpose thing. But
Is
you know,
that like kind of adjacent to this the plan, the High Dune Trail? I mean, just kind of
it would
like a farm to market fire break along the High Dune.
High Dune,
Similar kind of route and everything.
no, it would be a straight shot
Hmm.
behind the properties, and then it would be flattened out and made it drivable, walkable, drivable, so the fire department can get on there and they can intercept the fire before it gets to the homes. You've been down there, you know how the brush looks like in some of those areas. That gets going, and we've got a serious issue, I think.
When you're talking to citizens, now that you have announced your intent to run for mayor, and again, speaking with Frank Eldwin, current council member on the Ocean Shores City Council, now running for mayor, will be in the general election. What are citizens saying to you after you make this announcement? I mean, what are you hearing from the public as the campaign kind of gets going?
Well, I'm getting a lot of encouragement from the public on that. I was going to run for my seat there at the council, and nobody had signed up for mayor as of Wednesday at noon or whatever. And so I had a lot of people contacting me telling me they wanted me to run for mayor. And so I went ahead and signed up, and then my opponent signed up shortly after that.
As you get closer and closer to the election itself, I mean, what is your focus going to be as far as campaigning? How are you going to reach the people? We talked about having kind of the town halls to hear what the citizens want, but as part of the campaign, how are you going to go and make sure you're hearing what the citizens want as far as if you were to get into that role?
Well, I do a lot of door knocking, and I think that's really important, and you can have a one-on-one conversation with people. And so that, and I've got different people that support me are going to have like community get-togethers at their homes. So I've got that going on, and I think that's the best way to go. The best advertisement, let's say, is to get out there and talk to people personally.
Now that you are on the ballot for the November general election, looking to move from your seat on city council into the seat as mayor. So Ocean Shores residents are listening right now. Why Frank Eldwin for Ocean Shores mayor? Why now for Frank?
Well, I guess I could tell you that I'm going to be fiscally responsible with your money, and I'm going to have you be part of the equation here. I'm going to open up the city government to the public so that they have a voice. They don't have a voice right now, and they would like to have a voice. And I believe that that's the right way to govern. And so that's a big thing for me, is to include the people. I'd like to have some oversight committees on different things. One of them being the ethics that we have here. We got a code of ethics for the council. I would want the mayor also put into that same code of ethics, and then I would like a group of citizens to do the oversight and do the decisions on whether there was an actual violation or not. I don't think it's right that the council gets to vote on their own ethics charges. I mean, that's not getting anything solved, in my opinion.
Frank Eldwin running for mayor of Ocean Shores. You can find out more and follow along the campaign on Facebook at Frank Eldwin for Mayor Ocean Shores. and you can reach out. You've got your phone number and your email as the campaign rolls on, but you will be on the general election ballot running for mayor. And Frank, we thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to watching the campaign as it goes forward.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it, Kyle.